Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another live. Today, we are talking about 6 reasons why you should write everything down. Now, if you have been a part of this channel for any length of time, then you know I am a really big fan of writing everything down. I talk a lot about planners. I talk a lot about notebooks. I talk a lot about just how to get things out of your mind and put it on paper, one book to organize your entire life. We talk a lot about organizing and doing all the things, and a major part of that is writing everything down. Now, usually when I'm talking about writing things down, I will get some feedback that will say, okay, I like to write things down sometimes, but sometimes I like to use my phone. Sometimes I like to use apps, sometimes. In which I completely understand that sometimes for convenience, we do like to use our phones and we like to use other things. But today, I want to talk about why, even if you use some type of like other system and app, or you use your phone, why you should still move it over into some type of writing system, into some type of notebook or some type of planner. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. So, as we're getting started, remember, put in the chat box and let me know where you are joining me from. Hi, A. Smith. Hi, Lynn. Hey, Tori. My husband is on as well. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you for just being a fan of this channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you hit that like button. And if you have any questions, make sure you use hashtag Q to ask your questions. That lets me easily be able to navigate the chat box to see who has a question. Like I said, today we are going to be talking about 6 reasons why you should write everything down. And we're also going to dive into 3 habits that's going to help you to start writing these things down. I'm so happy. I know I have a lot of you that are already planner girls, and I actually wrote down everything that I'm going to be talking about today because I like to write everything in my planner. And I wrote these down before I added them into today's presentation. So thank you all so much for joining me. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So like I said, I wanted to dive into this topic because I believe that a lot of people talk about writing things down, but putting it into practice is a little bit more challenging. Putting it into practice where you're constantly having a system where you write things down in the same spot every single time you do, it is harder and harder to do. So that's why I wanted to talk about why you should really put this at the forefront of your mind and how it will help you to organize your entire life. So let's go ahead and dive into the very first reason why you should write everything down, and that is your mind will lie to you. Your mind will constantly tell you different things and different reasons, and you will say, okay, I remember something a certain way, and it actually won't be that way. And so our mind will remember things in a variety of different ways. And just because it remembers it that way doesn't mean it was actually that way. It doesn't mean that it actually happened that way. So one thing that will usually happen is that when we try and remember things, we are not remembering it correctly. And so since we don't have a system or something that we can go back to, something that will remind us of why we are what we actually said or what we're supposed to do, we forget. And when we forget, it makes us not actually be productive. It makes us get less done. It makes us try and remember all of the things, and we just can't remember them all. I told y'all this statistic a while ago, but your mind can only hold about 7 pieces of information at any given point in time. So since your mind can only hold 7 pieces of information, once you get that 8th piece of information, that 8th date in your head or that eighth thing that you are supposed to do, you're going to lose one of the other ones. You're going to lose one of these seven because your mind can only hold on to about seven pieces of information at a time. And this is why it is a big reason why you should write more things down, because your mind will lie to you and you will always think that you can remember something and you just won't be able to remember it. And then you lose a lot of pieces of information. You lose dates, you lose different things that you're supposed to do. And now you are kind of behind schedule. You're not able to achieve the things you want to achieve or hit the goals that you want to hit. You're going to miss the mark because your mind is going to lie to you. So this is a big reason why you want to start to write things down and you want to get consistent with writing things down. So we're not just talking about writing things down every now and then. We are really, really, really diving into consistency and making sure that we are continuously writing things down every single day. And even if you're using an app, we're going to transfer it to some type of notebook or some type of planner so that you can keep it, so that you have a place where you can refer back to and you remember a lot of the things that you're supposed to do, because your mind is going to lie to you. The second reason why you should write things down and you should be consistently writing things down is because we think better on paper. And so many times we're trying to run in our mind and we're trying to think through different things. We're trying to think through our ideas and figure out how we're going to execute them. We're trying to think through projects. We're trying to think through chores. We're trying to think through things that we need to do our family. We're trying to think through travel. So there are so many different things that we're trying to think through on a daily basis, but so many times we are unable to really process that information because we're trying to keep it all in our head. And as we're trying to keep it in our head, it's so difficult for you to actually remember or know or think it through or think through the different steps that you may need to take because you aren't writing things down. And as many as people as I talk to, I will say, are you writing it down? They'll say, oh yeah, every now and then, but I haven't gotten a chance to write this down or write that down. But not even realizing that writing it down and thinking it through on paper will actually save you so much time. It will save you so much additional time because we think better when we write things down. And it feels like it's taking time from us, but it's really not. It is actually helpful to write things down on a consistent basis. I see that Dee says I must write everything down in order to keep track of things at work, which is 100% true. I write down all my ideas. I write down everything that I have to do for the Organized Money. I write down as organized as people think I am. I would be a mess, complete chaos without my planner. If I didn't have this planner, that's why I talk about it so much. That's why I rant and rave and go on and on about it. That's why I do these classes, is because I'm really trying to drive home how important it is to have some type of notebook or some type of system that's going to help you to organize your entire life. My entire life is in this one book. It's in this one spot. And if I don't write it down, if you didn't see me jot it down in my planner, I am going to forget. I'm going to forget. I've already forgotten. I promise you. So writing it down is so paramount to everything that you have to do. You have to make sure that you're consistently writing it down. Tanisha is saying, as a nurse care manager, wife, sister, daughter, aunt, great aunt, officer in several nurse organizations and a sorority and active at church, we must write it down. And that is a big part. If you have multiple hats, which most women do, most of us do, if you have multiple hats that you have in your life that you have to complete, you are different things to different people, then 100%. You have to write it down. I always talk about I'm a pastor. I'm also a wife. I'm also a mom. I also, like to read a bunch of different books. I am an entrepreneur. I have a YouTube channel. I have an Etsy shop. All of those different things that I have to do require me to be organized in separate ways. And all the different things that you have to do in your life will require you to be organized in separate ways. So, one of the biggest things that you can do that will help you to think it through and think through better is to think on paper. And adding on to thinking on paper is tip number 3, which is you're able to organize it after you write it down. So I have thought through different projects and put them on paper. And then after I have written everything down, you just see things all over the place. Then you're able to even organize your thoughts much, much, much better. So I am able to organize launch dates much better for like products and different things that I have to do. I'm able to think through different projects, different things that I have to do for work, if I am able to write it down and then organize it. So many times we try and organize things in our head, but when you're organizing things in your head, many times you will kind of forget the different steps that you may have figured it all out in your head. And then once you try to start to execute, you've forgotten it all over again because you're not constantly organizing your thoughts. But once you write it down, you're able to organize in a way that you would not be able to do just in your head. You're able to kind of see things a little bit more clearly. And so organizing your thoughts on paper will be a huge help. Huge help. Not saying that you can't do it in the app. You can do certain parts in the app, but there are benefits to actually writing it down. Your mind connects so much better to paper than it does to your computer, than it does to your phone. Scientifically, it is shown when you write things down, you just connect more to the words that are on the page. You connect more to your goals. You connect more to the things that you want to accomplish, your productivity, and the things that you want to do. And you're able to organize it much, much better when you put it on paper. So this is the third reason why you want to write it down. The fourth reason, one of my biggest, calms your mind. I have never felt the amount of peace that I have felt since I started planning my life, since I started to actually put things down on paper and started to just like process my thoughts on paper, mainly when I am using, now I will use my phone for things, but I am like, I think it's Dee that just said, yes. She started using her phone as to send her a reminder. And I will do that with my phone. Like if I have appointments and different things like that, I will put that within my phone so that it will remind me to make sure that I am checking my planner on a daily basis. But when it comes down to things that are in my planner, I know that everything is organized in one spot. I know that I have 4 different sections within my planner that are all dedicated to separate areas of my life, and my system is solid. So I know if someone told me something and I wrote it in my planner, it's as good as done. And that is an amount of peace that I can't even explain. The amount of peace that you can get from just having a solid system where you can write different things down, you know where everything is, nothing is lost, nothing is chaotic, even if you aren't able to accomplish everything, because I'm not saying that I'm able to accomplish everything. I am absolutely not able to do every single thing that I want to do on my to-do list, but having my to-do list in a system that works for me, that I am able to consistently remind myself of the different things that I have to do, and everything is in one spot, I get way more accomplished. And that gives me an amount of peace that no phone, no app, no computer has ever given me. So make sure that even if you are using your phone as a way to remind you of going to your notebook or your planner, that is what it is. It is just a reminder for you, and it is not your solid system. You want to have something solid, which is a planner, a notebook, something that's going to help you to consistently remind you of of organizing your life in a systematic way. And so my planner is divided up in a way that helps me to consistently remind myself of the different things that I need to do for every single person that is relying on me in my life. And with this particular planner, I have so much peace because I know that if you told me something, it's in here. And if it's in here, it's as good as done. I know. And that brings a calmness that you just really can't explain. But it is an amazing way to make sure that you're consistently staying on top of all of the things that you want to do. The fifth thing that this helps me with is reusing my ideas. So this one really comes into play when it comes down to work and just even things that I have to do for my house. Many times I will think of different ideas that I'll have for content or different ideas that I might have for like my business or things that I want to do within my Etsy shop. And sometimes I will execute those ideas. Like I'll do a YouTube video, right? And then I might like want to reflect back 2 years later on my notebook to see what I was posting about 2 years ago. And that has given me so much more like help with developing my content and coming up with different ideas for you all. Like I have talked about writing things down probably for about the past 3 years now, but every time I talk about it, because I'm talking about it years later, I have new and fresh ideas about the same topics. So it's so wonderful for me to go back and see, what did we talk about last year? What did I talk about the year before when I talked about this same topic? Can I reuse that idea or can I talk about that again? If it was something that resonated with a lot of people, maybe I can go back and talk about it in another way, in a different video, and refresh that video and reuse that idea. So your planners, your notebooks are a great memory keeper, right? So they're keeping memories for years and years and years. And if you store them in a way to where you can always reflect back on them, then this gives you a library of ideas that you have had in the past. And there is nothing like being able to look back at the way that you were thinking, at the different journal entries you had, at how your life was going years ago, possibly reusing certain ideas if it was for your business, or even if you're just journaling in your planner and you're able to see how you've grown and how you've like just developed new ideas from that moment. It is even refreshing to be able to do that. So you want to make sure that you are constantly writing these things down because it's not the same trying to go back in an app. I have the only app where I can really go back like that is Evernote. I will go back within my Evernote and I will look at past ideas. I will look at different things that I have done. But other than Evernote, for the most part, all of my other apps, I am unable to like really look in my calendar app the same way that I look in my planner. It is much easier for me to look through my planner and see what was going on in a period of time of my life. And I've written down way more in my planner than if I was to look at my calendar app, because my calendar app may tell me an appointment here or there, but it's not going to tell me what I was thinking. It's not going to tell me what I was eating. It's not going to tell me how my health was. It's not going to tell me about what I was reading or anything else. There are so many other things that it won't tell me. And so this is one that it will tell me. So make sure that you're using your planner on a consistent basis just to remind yourself of different things that you want to keep track of. And it is super, super helpful. And the sixth thing, it makes everything better. Writing things down has improved my money. It has improved my health. It has improved my peace of mind. It has improved my family life. It has improved my personal life. Anything that I could think of, writing it down has improved it. And so the peace that comes with having improved multiple areas of your life through this one system, this one book, this one thing, it is monumental how much I have been able to change my life and achieve through just writing it down and being consistent with doing it. Once I write things down and I have this consistent thing in my mind of what I want to do and how I want to do it, I am able to achieve it much, much, much faster. So there is something when you write things down, talking about like mind perspective. When you write it down, you feel closer and more connected to the words that are on the paper, and you're more likely to do it. You're more likely to accomplish it. You're more likely to resonate with it. You're more likely to remember it. And writing it down makes you more attached to whatever you have put on that paper more than anything else. This is why we talk about writing down your goals, but also writing down affirmations, writing down anything that you need to do, because you're more likely to accomplish those habits and do the different things that you need to do. So now that I've talked about six ways reasons why we should be writing things down, I think the next best thing for us to talk about is how. Well, I'm going to give you 3 habits. We're going to talk about 3 habits that will actually help you to write more things down, because I think that pretty much everyone knows that we should be writing things down on a consistent basis, but not many people know how to start or where to start. And my very first thing that I usually tell people to start with is a way to capture. You got to find a way to capture your ideas, your thoughts. You got to find a way to have a spot where you can put those things down. So the first thing that you need to do is have a notebook. I call mine my brainstorming notebook. I have talked about this so much, but my brainstorming notebook is a Leuchtturm 1917 notebook. And within this notebook, it is a bunch of just random notes. I have written in, I've been using this one since, let's see when this one started, March of 2023. Hopefully y'all can see this, but this one has been since March of 2023. And with this one, it is probably, I think I've finished up until like almost halfway. It's a little bit more than halfway done, but I am just writing down random notes. I'm writing down scripts. I'm writing down anything that I could possibly think of. Anybody asks me to do anything, but I will write it in here. This comes every single place with me. I don't care where I'm going. More than likely, I'm going to have this in me. I can put it in pretty much any bag that I own, and I will bring this with me, and I will usually have my pen right at the top here, and to where I can just carry this around. And the minute you tell me anything, if you say, hey, I want to go get coffee, or hey, I need you to do this, or I was thinking this, I'm going to pull out this notebook. And having this notebook on me at all times to write everything down really does help me to consistently write it down and remember it. So this, even if you don't want to use anything this big, I know Moleskine has something that's probably half this size. I really like this size. I did try something smaller a couple of months ago and ended up coming back to this one. I think I'm just so used to having this one. But this is my messy notebook. It is not neat. It is not like pretty. I don't have any stickers in here for the most part. I did decorate some stickers in the very beginning just to make it like pretty. Like I did this page and this page. But other than that, there are no stickers in here. It's just a bunch of notes, scripts, and just random things. But if it's in here, then I know it's going to, like, this is the first place where I will capture all of my ideas, all of my notes, anything that I could possibly think of. It's going to start here. The second habit that you need to put into place, because these are 3 habits that you need to have. The first one is having a notebook every single place where you go. This is going to help you to write things down more consistently. The second thing that you need to do is do brain dumps, weekly brain dumps. Having a weekly brain dump where you're constantly writing things down in your brainstorming notebook. So I will write down things that other people tell me. I will write down things from meetings in here. But the other thing that I will do is think about every single thing that I have to do in my entire life and brain dump it in this notebook. And that is super helpful because if you've ever been unproductive, where you're like, man, I'm in this fog and I can't get out of this fog. And I feel like I don't have any energy. I feel like I'm just kind of going through my days. My days are kind of running together. They all feel the same. I don't know. I'm just all over the place, or I'm just not motivated to do anything. Whenever that happens to you, that usually means that your mind is all over the place because it's in chaos. You have complete chaos going on in your head, and it's draining your energy. It's draining your energy because your mind is moving all the time. If you can't sleep, like you saying, I can't really rest, my mind is just moving all the time, and I just can't feel like I can get my thoughts together, do a brain dump. Do a brain dump. Brain dumping random stuff will reset your mind. This is the thing that I will use every single week, every single Sunday to reset my mind. And you don't put parameters around your brain dump. You just write it all down. So in my brain dump, I wrote down things I need to do for work, for home, for myself, for beauty, things that I want to do, things that I'm going to wear, events that are coming up, meetings that I need to have, just anything and everything. I will write it down in this notebook and brain dump it. And this helps me to clear my mind. So if you've ever felt unmotivated, which I know most motivation is one of the hardest things to really like get back on track with, your motivation and your discipline, but brain dumps will really, really help you to get back on track. So this is my weekly reset. And within my weekly reset, I always start with a brain dump. And starting with the brain dump and writing things down really does help me to clear my mind. And if I'm taking this everywhere I go and I constantly have a brain dump going for the week, then I'm going to remember all of the different things that I need to do, and it's going to help me to plan it better. Now, after you do your brain dump, that's your second habit. The third habit that you need to put into place is transferring that brain dump into your planner. Because remember, this is a messy notebook. This is a random messy notebook that you are going to keep on you at all times, but it's not organized. So sometimes I will add little tabs, like I don't know if y'all can see, but I have like 2 tabs here. And these tabs will just like remind me of one important page that I might have in my notebook that I just want to like kind of remind myself of. But even with these tabs, I will still transfer whatever is in here to my actual planner and put a date of when I'm going to actually complete that task. Because if your brain dump just stays as a brain dump and you don't decide when you're going to do the different things that are on it, it's not going to actually get done. So even for this class, when I started this class, it started as a random messy note in here. Then I moved it over to my actual planner. So this is my to-do planner, and I started to write down the 6 reasons here, which I had already written it in my brain dump notebook or my brainstorming notebook, but then I transferred it here because I knew on the 22nd, on today, I was going to talk about these things, and I wanted to just transfer everything over so that I remembered all of the different things and I could easily find it. Now, could I keep it in here and just do the class from here? Of course I can. But for the most part, I do like to transfer everything over because it's just easier for me to find in my planner than it is in my notebook. In my notebook, I got to flip back and forth. In my planner, I know exactly, like I already have, I have top tabs, I have bottom tabs. I can easily flip to the different pages that I need in here. So y'all let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions regarding my system, regarding how you can create your own system. But I am a big fan of having a planner and a notebook. My planner is my Tom 90 planner. It's a customized planner that I did create. It is divided up into 4 sections. So mine is my schedule, my money, my journaling section, and my to-do section is in here. But I also, I also use my brainstorming notebook. So these two together make up my entire system. Brainstorming notebook is where I capture, and then my planner is where I'm going to prioritize, plan, and decide how things are going to be executed. So after I capture, I only use this notebook to capture everything going in here, and then I decide what needs to happen next, and I put it within my planner. Okay, so that is how I'm going to use my system. Now, before I jump into the questions, I'm about to jump into the questions, but before we get there, Wednesday, I am going to be posting a video talking about money side. So within my planner, I do have a section for my money. It is how I keep my money all the way organized. But over the past, probably like 2 months, we've had a bunch of repairs, and my short-term savings account, the one that I talk about that helps me stay 1 month ahead, it is basically gone. we have probably like $400 left in that account, but it was my month ahead account that I would use to pay all my bills a month ahead. So now we have to get back a month ahead, and I'm going to be using a cash system in order to do that. So in Wednesday's video, I'm going to be talking about how I'm starting over with my month ahead account, and how if you don't have one and you want to get into cash budgeting and cash saving and like strategizing with your bills to get 1 month ahead, we're going to be talking about that on Wednesday. Okay, so that's going to be Wednesday's video. I am excited to jump into that as well, because I really need to get back a month ahead. So let's go ahead and jump into some of your questions. The cover for my planner, I do have in my shop. So this is my leather cover. And I do sell it in my shop, in my Etsy shop. So if you head over to my Etsy shop, you can find this cover. You can find the actual planner. You get 4 sections with every single planner in 3 months. So it's called the Tom 90 Planner because it's basically a 90-day planner. You get 3 months of 4 different sections: an hourly planner, 3 months of an hourly planner, 3 months of a vertical planner, 3 months of a monthly planner, and 3 months of a budget planner. And then if you wanted to get the downloads, you can replace or add new planners, or you can order an extension pack of any one of those and continuously use your planner throughout the year. It also comes with the gold rings. I love the gold rings, and it also has the black and white cover. And then if you wanted to order this cover, you can add it on as well. So you can definitely check out my Etsy shop. I do have it there. How do you go about choosing a designated place to organize different things like ideas, systems, or upcoming tasks? So that is a great question. Usually I will capture every single thing in here. I'm capturing ideas, I'm capturing systems, I'm capturing my to-do list, my brain dumps, everything is in here. Then I decide what needs to happen next with that particular thing. So let's say, for instance, it is a task. If it's a task, I will put it within I have a section called my to-do section. And within my to-do section, it's a vertical planner. And this is where I will write out all of the different upcoming things that I need to do, or my ideas. So as you can see, this is all of my idea. This was an idea of a class that I wanted to teach, this particular class, and I wrote it down here. And then the previous week, if you can see, it was like a bunch of to-do lists. So I have like just a bunch of things that I wanted to do, and I just wrote it all out in here, and then I will check it off as I go. So every single week, I am just writing out the different things that I want to do, and I'm checking it off as I go. So within my to-do section, this is where I can brain dump in here as well if I need to. Like, I'm just kind of jotting down all the things that I would like to get done for the day. Now, if we're talking about my schedule, just the different things, the main things that I want to do at different times. This is my schedule section. And this is where I map out my entire schedule by time. So my to-do list could be a bunch of things that I want to do, but these are the main, like if I don't get anything done, these are my top threes, my MITs, my most important things. So with here, I am writing just the important things that I want to get done today. In my to-do section, it's more like a brain dump, a system, upcoming task, something that I might want to get done later on, but I might not get it all done today. So that's how I divide mine up. And then I also have like my faith planning section where I can just journal and faith plan and things like that. And then I also have my money section where I can plan out things for my money. So that's how mine is divided up. But let's say my husband says we need to do something for church. I will flip to my to-do section. Well, it depends. If we need to do something for church and it's like later on down the line, I will flip to my to-do section and I will write it down on the date that, and write down the date that I kind of wanted to get done. If it is something that I know I need to do immediately and it's super important, it goes into my schedule because I need to add a time that I'm going to do it because it's super important and I can't wait and I want to make sure that I actually schedule it. So that's how usually I will, it depends on how important the task, the system, the thing is. If it's really, really, really important and I need to make sure that I do it, it's going in the schedule. If it's kind of important, but not right now important, it's going in the to-do section. So that's how I usually will set mine. Okay. Do you find it easier to use the 8.5 by 11? I do. So I have tried to use the classic size. I've gone back and forth a number of times and I always end up coming back to the bigger planner. And I think it's mainly because of the space. I think for my life, the classic size is just too small for me to fit everything that I need to do. And so what ended up happening is I would end up adding inserts and adding additional sheets so that I can continue to write things. And then I start to lose them. And when I start to lose them, I get sad because I'm like taking out the page. Like sometimes I would take out the insert and put it somewhere so that I could write on another section of my planner. But what ended up happening is I didn't put the insert back in. So now I keep all of my inserts as like bottom tabs, or like I'll just keep them as a full page within my 8.5 by 11 planner. And this system just really, really works for me. It really does. I love having the 8.5 by 11. However, I do know a bunch of people that feel like the 8.5 by 11 is too big because it's a letter sized sheet of paper, which also works for me because I love printing out paper on my in my printer and then punching holes in it and adding it to my planner, and that just really works for me. So I have been using 8.5 by 11. Probably not going to switch anytime soon. But you have to work with what works for you. Like I said, that's why I also carry my notebook everywhere I go. If I could get into the classic size, I probably would just use the classic size for everything and not have a brainstorming notebook. But because I use the big one, if I do have a smaller purse on me, then having the classic size does work for me. But if I can, I'm going to carry both. I just love, love, love my planner. I love having my planner every single place I go. All right. Where do you keep details about appointments, meetings, dinners, and etc.? All of that goes within my schedule. So if it is happening this month, if it is something that's happening in the current month, I will use my monthly page, which is here. So I will keep it on my monthly calendar where I will kind of jot down what's everything that's happening for the month here. And then when it comes, if it's happening that particular week, I keep it within my schedule planner. So my schedule planner is where I keep my MITs, which are my most important tasks, the things that I need to do this week, the things that absolutely need to happen. And I will also keep my schedule. So my top things that I want to do. My MITs are at the very top in this box. And then I plan out my entire day by the hour. So I'm time blocking my entire day and I'm deciding when I'm going to do what and I'm setting aside time for every single task. That way, I know exactly when I'm going to do what and what time I'm supposed to be doing different things. It also helps me to not overschedule my day because when I just used to write one really long to-do list, I would write down so many things and then I would assume that I can get them all done. And then I would quickly realize that I could not get them all done. Then I would get upset, because I actually over planned my day, but I would get upset feeling like I wasn't being productive enough. But really, I genuinely just didn't give myself enough time to do all of the things that I had listed to do. So, planning my day by time and by like appointments and meetings and dinners and different things, all of that by time is super, super, super helpful. It will really, really help you to actually stick to your schedule and not to over plan your day. Because otherwise, you're going to overplan. You're going to think, oh, no, this is going to take me 15 minutes. And it's something that's going to take you 45 minutes. And it's really, really helpful to just have a system where you're just kind of thinking through your entire day by time and not by task. All right. If you have questions, make sure you use hashtag Q so I can make sure I can easily see them. So you put your checklist in your notebook and a planner. So with my checklist, I am brain dumping in here. Usually I have not completely thought it through in this notebook. This notebook is super messy and usually I'm just kind of like jotting down random scripts, ideas, thoughts, but it's not fully thought out. Remember, one of my points was that writing it down helps you to organize your thoughts. So there are 3 or 4 ways something will just stay in this planner or in this notebook. Not everything that's in this notebook gets to my planner. Not every single thing that's in this notebook really makes it to my planner because there are some things that I'm writing in my notebook that I don't need to plan. Like it was just a random thought that I was having at the moment. And it was either not fully thought out or it's something that I just needed right then and there, but I don't need it again. For instance, like if I'm uploading a YouTube video, sometimes I will write out like my chapters. I will write down, like, I think that's what this is. It is. I was writing my chapters for a YouTube video. So I'm like, okay, this is when this start. This is when this point is. I'm writing down the different things that I'm going to put within this YouTube video, the cards I'm going to use, the video links that I want to put. After I complete the YouTube video, I don't need to put this in my planner. There's no reason for me to put it in there. Everything is already done. So this will just stay here. And then once it's done because I was just messily writing in my notebook. But if I don't finish the YouTube video and I say, oh, I need to make sure that I transfer and I actually finish the YouTube video tomorrow, then I may write in my planner, finish YouTube video. Or I might write down the task that is associated with these notes in my planner. I might not write it verbatim, what I wrote in here, but I might write something in my notebook or in my planner to remind me either to look at this notebook. Sometimes I'm just referencing one to the other, or if it's super important, I'm going to write the entire thing in my planner to make sure that I don't forget it. So they really do work well together. Like my notebook and my planner really work well together. But if you feel like you don't want to be redundant and write things down over and over, I would say write a note in your planner to remind yourself to look at your notebook. But your planner really should be a hub. You need a really solid system to make sure that they're working together because you don't want to write something in your notebook, forget to put it in your planner, and then forget to do the task because it stayed in your notebook and you didn't actually plan it. So one thing about my planner is since everything is planned out by time, I am really paying attention to my time and making sure that all the tasks that are in my notebook actually make it to my planner. So not every single thing will be in my planner, but a lot of it is actually in my planner and I have written it out. But a lot of the random things, like if it's a to-do, it is going to end up in my planner. But if it's not a to-do, it is probably just going to stay in the notebook. If it was just a random idea, a random thought that's not going to go anywhere else, it will live in the notebook. All right, let's see. Do you use the planner by 90 days? What do you do with the planners once they are done? So mine is actually monthly. So I have I think I moved them from over here, but I used to have the 4 stack of planners. So I have a stack of 4 planners that I will like switch out the pages. With yours, if you decide to order the Tom 90 planner, it comes with 3 months of 4 different planners. So it totals up to 12 months. So it's about the exact same size as this one. It will look like this. And yes, I am using it for 90 days. And then I will transfer it over to another set of discs, another planner, or put it on more rings. So I have another set of rings that I will transfer it over to. And then at the end of the year, I will have 4 of these that are just set up for each quarter. And then if I keep them for 2 years, and then I will shred them or toss them. Or if there's like a memory keeping one, I will keep them. My memory ones, I keep forever. Anything that's older than 2 years, if it's like just my schedule and just random things, I won't keep it. But I like to keep my scripting ones, like things that I'm posting to YouTube or things that have to do with work. I like to keep my family ones, like memory keeping and things like that. I like to keep those forever. Any other planner other than those 2, I will toss after 2 years. But I do like to keep them for 2 years just in case something comes up and I need to refer back to them. But after 2 years, I usually don't need them. I guess my question is information about the location, or what do you need to bring that goes with where I will bring my planner. I'm thinking that goes so with if I am like going to a meeting or something like that, usually I will just bring this to any appointments and my meetings. Very rarely will I pull out my entire planner during the meeting, only because it can be distracting at times. My planner is like really highly decorated. It's a lot. And so sometimes having my big, huge 8.5 by 11 planner might be too much, but having a notebook with no stickers in it is fine. Now, sometimes I will bring my planner because it's a great conversation piece, and I do talk about planners a lot and why you should use them. So sometimes I will bring it out, and I'm fine with that. But if I'm ever in like a coffee meeting, now no coffee shops have really small tables. So since the table is small, I don't want to take up the whole space with my big old planner. So I will just bring my notebook. So that is like the difference between the 2. It's really, really based on where I'm going, what type of meeting it is, who's in the meeting. Am I just with my family and friends? Then I'm popping out the planner. If it's like a really important meeting and I want to be kind of incognito, or the space isn't really big, then I'll probably just bring my brainstorming notebook. But my brainstorming notebook is really, really, really functional, and it just helps me to kind of stay on top of the notes and different things I need to do. All right. How do you stay realistic with your time blocking without sacrificing the important tasks? So usually with my time blocking, I am setting it by time more than the length of time that I have for a task. So for instance, let's say I want to record a video, and I really want to record this video, and I really want it to be done at the end of the day. But I know that I only have an hour to do this video because I have a bunch of other things that I have to do. If I can get it all done in an hour, then I will. If I feel like I can't get it done, or I only allot myself an hour, then I will switch to another task that I need to complete, and I will reschedule or add on more time later on in the week or another day. So many times with our time blocking, we try and give ourselves enough time to complete a task, but giving ourselves enough time to complete a task sometimes overschedules us to where we can't get multiple things done. So if something is super important, like I said, I usually only have 3 MITs a day, 3 super important tasks. Because I have 3 important tasks, then I will try to do them all first thing in the morning. Once I usually allot myself 2 hours every single day to do my most important task. Usually it's going to be the top thing that I do, and I'm going to give myself 2 hours. If I am unable to complete it in 2 hours, then I will move it to the next day for those next 2 hours, because every single morning I'm giving myself 2 hours to complete my task. If I am unable to do it within that time frame, then I will try and reschedule it. If I am able to do it, then great. I might even have more time to do some additional things. The point is to really stay realistic with your time, even if you are unable to complete the entire task. So it's less about trying to finish everything and more about allotting times to the things that are important to you, even if you don't finish them all. Because if you allot time every single day to the things that are super important to you, then you are more likely to get more things done. So just try your best not to be too hard on yourself about completing everything, and more give yourself more space to create the habit of continuously working on something, because you're going to finish at some point, unless you have a deadline. If you have a deadline, then set aside the time that you need to complete the task. But other than that, I am way more about the habit of trying to, like, if I'm trying to film every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, then even if I don't finish every single video that I do, filming is the most important thing that I want to do. Now, sometimes I have a deadline of posting this video and I have to finish it. So then I'm going to set aside more time. I might set aside 4 hours instead of 2. But if I don't have a set deadline that is in my face, then I try and do a little bit of everything that's on my list. I write things down, but I don't remember to check it, or I'm too busy to stop to check it. Any advice to help? I've even tried alarms. So this kind of goes back to creating that habit of checking in with your planner. So when do you check? So usually we feel too busy because we've already started our day without checking it first. And so this usually happens because we feel discombobulated. We feel like we're all over the place. We feel like we don't have time to stop. Like, I don't have time to plan because I got to hurry up and finish this or finish that or do this or do that. But what ends up happening is that we feel chaotic because we haven't stopped. And so if you do decide that the first thing you do in the morning, before you check your phone, before you start to run around and do a bunch of stuff, the first thing that you do is to check your planner, or the last thing you do at night is to check your planner. This will help you with being consistent with your actual planner. I like to check mine 3 times a day. I will check it first thing in the morning. I will also check it right around lunchtime, and I will check it right at the end of my day, like right before I go to bed. And carrying my planner, pretty much having it on me and having a notebook on me all the time, really does help me to open it more often. And if you feel like, you know what, my planner is in, my bedroom and I don't have time, put it wherever you first are in the morning. So it's the very first thing that you see as soon as you wake up. This will help you to get more into the habit of actually checking it on a consistent basis. So you are like trying to like force yourself to remember. It's better to just have it in the space where you know you're already going to be, instead of trying to force yourself to remember. It keeps you kind of like just, in the mix of actually remembering. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cosmic Journey. I really, really appreciate it. So any other questions? Let's see. Okay. How do you manage plans when you are not well for a while? You don't. You do not. So anytime I've talked about this before, but anytime I am sick, anytime I am experiencing a heavy time, anytime life is lifing, you got to give yourself space and time and grace to miss things. You may miss tasks, you may miss things that you're supposed to do, you may be off track with your habits, and it is all okay. I know that social media has put us in this mindset of we got to be productive all the time. We got to do all the things. But sometimes the best thing that you can do for your productivity is rest. Sometimes if you're under the weather or you just aren't mentally there, you have to give yourself the space and the time to kind of rebuild and get back there. There are times where I have to take breaks. Like even going live, I was going live consistently for a long time. And then I had to take a break because like life starts to get crazy. My schedule started to get crazy. And, I had other things that I really, really had to take care of. And I was so down about it. And then I was like, you know what? You have to give yourself time and space to rest. And so even if you're trying to manage your plans, what things do you absolutely have to do? Do those, release everything else. And if it's really, really like, oh, I kind of need to do it, but it's my self-imposed, I need to do this, then still don't do it. But sometimes like waking up is heavy, especially if you're going through something mentally. Waking up can be a lot. You know, taking a shower can be a lot. Everything can be a lot. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself space and time to relax, to regroup, and build back up your motivation or build back up whatever you need, and take care of yourself before you start putting on all of these lists of things that you want to do. Sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing. That is the best thing that you can do for your overall mental health. All right. Do you ever feel like not planning at all? Yes. I have had times where I just don't feel like using my planner. I'm just not feeling it. And that is where I will just use my notebook. I will just write something down really quick. It will be really, really messy. Maybe I'm just not in the mental space to write down all my plans. Maybe I'm overwhelmed by planning because every now and then I can get super overwhelmed by just consistently planning. So what I will do is just write down a quick 3 things that I'm going to do today, and I will forget everything else, and my planner will be blank for the week. And I give myself space and time to do that as well. I am not forcing myself to be productive, like just be the productivity bunny all the time, where I'm always getting things done, where I'm always hitting these goals, where I'm always checking things off. Sometimes I do nothing and my planner is blank, and that is okay as well. Going back to being sick, going back to just not feeling it, giving yourself the space to not feel it can be very productive for your overall mental health, and it will help you to not be so down on yourself and just like make, get hard on yourself, because so many times you can get really, really hard and life just be lifing, right? And when life lifes, you got to give yourself space and time to just heal and do what you can. All right. Not sure if you addressed this, but how do you order your planner in sections? I flip all over and feel disorganized. So my planner sections, I do have dividers to help me organize every single section in my planner. So my top dividers, so I have side dividers, top dividers, and bottom dividers. My top dividers are my planner sections. This is where I am specifically in a planner. So I have my schedule planner, my money, my faith, my to-do. And I have 4 of those at the very top here, so I can easily flip to the week that I am currently on. My side tabs are the same thing, where they are the different sections that I have, and it is the front of the planner. So if I flip to this section, I'm at the very front of each one of my planner. If I use the top tab, I'm flipping to the exact week that I am on within that planner. My bottom tabs, though, my bottom tabs are the tabs that I will use for inserts that I have within my planner. So everything that's in my planner is not a planner. Some things are inserts. So I do have what I call my future section. So because my planner is not a 12-month planner, I will have a future section. My future section is just a portrait calendar where I can keep up with what's coming up next. So because you're talking about a 90-day planner, you may have something that's coming up in 6 months. You may have something that's coming up around Christmas, and having a future dated section can help you to stay on top of what's coming up next without losing that information. So I have a future section where I have just calendars to keep up with what's coming up next as a bottom tab. I also have my notes where I just have like journal paper in my planner as a bottom tab, and I have a daily section. My daily section is when I just really need to plan the day. Once again, it's not a full planner, but it is an insert that I will use when I just need to kind of get things out of my head for the day and really plan my day in detail. I do not use this every single day. I might use it once or twice a week whenever I'm like trying to get a lot done on a particular day. All right, I think that was the last question. Thank you all so much. So I'm still trying to figure out the timing of my lives, but looks like we might be back to Mondays. I am still working on it. But like I said, this Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about starting over, getting 1 month ahead. And what I think I'm going to do is every other live is going to be like writing, organizing your life related, and one is going to be money related. So after Wednesday's video, I'm probably going to talk about this more on live next week, because I am sure, I'm almost positive that y'all are going to have a bunch of questions after Wednesday's video. I was really trying to be very thorough in that video, but because I'm starting over, I feel like it may be a lot of questions associated to how I use my bill cash savings versus my savings and versus my spending cash envelopes, because it's 3 separate cash envelopes that I'm using in order to help me to get back on track. But I do believe that this video will be really, really helpful, especially if you're like me and you're trying to start over. Like, depleting my savings account is always so frustrating for me, but that's what saving is for, right? It is for, and I keep trying to remind myself of that. Like, you save this money for repairs, for things that happen. And when they happen, you still get mad that you had to spend the money, but that's what you're supposed to do, right? It's a mental thing. I promise you, I know it's a mental thing. But Wednesday's video, I am going to be talking about how we're going to be getting back 1 month ahead. And then next Monday, not next Monday, because next Monday I will be out of town. But Monday after that, and I'm going to send out the date and send out an email and tell you all. So if you aren't on my mailing list, get on my mailing list. The link will be in the description box, because I always send out when my next live is going to be. We're going to talk about on my next live getting 1 month ahead and how to start that process. All right. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you all in Wednesday's video. Bye, guys. Thank you. See y'all later.